My next speaker is somebody who is very well known, probably to all of us. Audrey White has a long record of class struggle, first in militant action against sexual harassment, which actually achieved a change in the law, then in winning an apology plus damages from the Jewish Chronicle, and most spectacular of all, in her confrontation at a Labour Party conference against Starmer, the recording of which went absolutely viral. So Audrey, very welcome, and I can't think of anybody better to speak to our meeting.
So thanks very much for inviting me, and thanks for the lovely introduction. I'd like to start my contribution by saying, I suppose this is obvious, but we need a new mass workers' party because there isn't one. Nobody's representing the working class. But all I want to say, basically, and I think we'll all enjoy this bit, is Labour is detested, and not just Starmer, but the whole cabinet, the party and the councils, including many of the MPs and councillors themselves. And we all saw what happened in the local elections on May the 1st when Labour was decimated. And we don't need to wonder why. There's a genocide taking place, the annihilation of the Palestinian people before our very eyes. Austerity is killing the most vulnerable at home, with the attacks on pensioners, disabled people, poor families, and many more who are dying wholesale because the NHS is in private hands. Labour is restricting free speech and our civil liberties are under attack. As many of us here know, there's been a witch hunt within the Labour Party, a really vicious purge of pro-Palestine, anti-war and anti-austerity comrades, even concocting fake anti-Semitism, which hasn't been talked about till recently, to be fair, to create a division, to expel and discredit decent people. There is no transparency and there's little just democracy. There's a real dishonesty and a viciousness which is really ugly. Let's face it, not only is reform the enemy, Labour is too. The Labour Party is rigged so that it will never represent the interest of the working classes and will never bring about the radical changes that we've made. They've made sure of that. There's probably still some decent people in the Labour Party, I'm sure, but I don't honestly know how they can stand the stench. We're told that voters are moving from Labour to reform, which actually isn't the full story, but it does happen to suit the narrative of those against the left to push us further and the parties further to the right. The truth is 6% of Labour voters have moved away and are voting for reform, whilst 3 times as many Labour voters are leaving Labour to support the seemingly more progressive policies of the Greens and the Lib Dems. But of course, this is all happening in the absence of any mass left party whatsoever. The Green Party has no basis in the working class and certainly can't be trusted on foreign policy with its flag waving for NATO. And obviously, who would ever trust the Lib Dems again after they betrayed the students? So Labour itself is dead. Starmer himself is done for. He's done his job. So yes, what else is there to say beside the fact that no one is actually speaking up for workers? Where's their voice in any of this anywhere? So I'll just tell you what, go to Birmingham like the pensioners did last week and do it again, and join the bin workers picket line and just listen. It's absolutely disgusting. A Labour council under a Labour government using injunctions, the most vicious anti-trade union laws introduced by Thatcher, and they're using them against low-paid workers who woke up one morning being told that their wages will be cut, some by £450 a month. That's absolutely terrifying, and it'll be repeated right across the country to every council worker and not just the bin men. And I'm not scaremongering here, I really aren't. They must win this and we must help them win. The fight for change starts on the grassroots, in our communities, and a new party must also start from there. Otherwise, we honestly have no chance. Let's just briefly mention the free ports. They've been lauded by both the Tories and Labour with little organised opposition by the unions. And what do free ports mean for workers? It's an absolute horror show. While swathes of the country will be turned into fiefdoms, where the rights of workers, that they've fought for years are thrown to the wind, and where corporations are fed our public assets as well as our public funds. And at the same time, they are given free rein to ditch every law in the pursuit of profits for the few. There is a nightmare ahead of us. And at the same time, these same corporations drive endless wars abroad in the pursuit of markets as they steal every ounce of resource and wealth from the countries that they target. Just as this same drive for profits has the climate in crisis and our planet teetering on the brink. So if only for the sake of our own survival, we need a new party to bring an end not only to the exploitation of workers, but the endless consumption and the wars that only profit a few. So I would argue the political vacuum for a new party of the left in Britain has never been greater or more necessary. To fight for, amongst other things, a rationally planned economy with all services publicly owned and controlled, with no outsourcing whatsoever. Outsourcing is privatisation, where workers can benefit from their own labour rather than working for the profit of corporations. An alternative to this rabid free-for-all Britain, rigged in the interests of corporate cowboys and war makers by their obedient handmaidens, the Tories and Labour. Can I just end with this? There will be a new party thrown forward. The current insecurity and the hardship of the British people demands it, and history demands it. Furthermore, there's an actual clamour. People are screaming out for it. The movement is already here. But like back in the dark days of 2015, it needs a spark to reveal its true power, the spark of leadership to coalesce around, and the ideas of a manifesto democratically agreed upon, rather like the Merseyside Pensioners, an organisation where people put together democratically the ideas that we want to fight for. But be aware, there isn't a blueprint for this. It won't be a perfect party, and it will come soon. But people are working towards its foundation, and we will join all our forces together. It is happening, but you have to remember that we're starting from scratch. We're standing under that tree again, surrounded by powerful enemies who want to destroy us once more. We have no shelter except each other, but we've learned the harsh and bitter lessons that will make us stronger and steel us for the fight. To be honest, we're all scared stiff of failing, and the establishment has got us all terrified. However, we can and will unite around our basic principles, which for me and us in the Merseyside Pensioners Association are the ideas of socialism, internationalism, peace and justice and equality. And we must hold these principles close to our hearts and keep pushing forward the arguments time and time again, because there is no alternative. It really is that simple. And this time we can and we must win, because there's too much at stake. And remember, everyone, there really is rebellion in the air. You can see it across the world. So solidarity, comrades, and let's build this organisation. Let's build this party and fight for the beautiful ideas of socialism, equality, peace and justice.
Thank you, Audrey. Bravo. Well done. I think you're speaking for all of us.